Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into one of life's most powerful, and let's be honest, sometimes most mysterious principles. That undeniable link between your attitude, what's going on inside your head, and the reality you actually experience day in and day out.
So let's just jump right in with a question that I know might sound a little out there. Can your attitude, your thoughts and your feelings literally, physically change the world around you? It's a pretty bold idea, right? So let's take a look at a very strange experiment that tries to answer exactly that.
So this brings us to this fascinating and yet kind of controversial experiment by a researcher named Masaru Emoto. Here's what he did. He took 3 jars of cooked rice. The first jar, he showered with words of love and gratitude every single day. To the second one, he directed anger and hate. And the third jar, he just ignored it completely. And the results after 30 days were, well, they were pretty wild. The love rice was perfectly preserved. The hate rice was a disgusting, rotten mess. And get this, the ignored rice had also started to decay.
Now look, I know what you're probably thinking. Rice doesn't have ears. And you know what? It's totally fair to be skeptical. But whether you look at this as myth or actual science, the principle underneath it is what's really powerful. And it's actually scientifically supported. Our internal state, you can call it our energy, our frequency, our attitude, it has a real, tangible effect on the world. So the big question is, how does this actually work?
Well, to understand that, we've got to look inside our own heads. This is where we get into the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza and start to explore why we so often feel stuck, like we're living our entire lives through a rearview mirror.
So here's the deal. According to Dr. Dispenza, your brain, fundamentally, is a record of the past. Just think about it for a second. Everything you know, every single thing you've ever experienced, it's all stored in there. So, in a way, your brain is like this amazing artifact that's been perfectly organized to reflect your past life, but not necessarily the future one you want.
And this all leads to what he calls your state of being. It's a really simple but incredibly profound equation. Your thoughts, that's the language of your brain. And your feelings, that's the language of your body. So when you start thinking about your past problems, your brain triggers the feelings associated with them, and boom, your body is literally reliving that past experience. That combination, that loop of thinking and feeling, is what creates your present reality, moment by moment.
So here's the crucial point. Every single morning when you wake up, you face a choice. You can either be defined by those familiar memories of the past, letting the same old feelings dictate a totally predictable future, or you can be defined by a vision of the future, by a possibility, and let that inform how you act right here in the present.
And this, right here, is why change is so ridiculously hard. Like Dr. Dispenza says, the toughest part is just not making the same choice you made yesterday. The second you decide to step outside that familiar routine, your body, which has been conditioned to those old emotions, just screams for you to go back to what it knows. It feels uncomfortable, it feels unfamiliar, and it definitely feels uncertain. And that's it. That's the moment the real work truly begins.
So if our past is so good at holding us back, how in the world do we break free? Well, that brings us to our next section, and this really powerful idea from an author named Jeff Keller. The idea that you can literally become a human magnet. The whole concept is actually pretty simple. Your dominant thoughts, the ones that you keep coming back to over and over again, they literally rule your day. They act like a powerful magnet. If you genuinely deep down believe you can achieve something, you'll unconsciously start to notice and attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources to actually make it happen. It's like you're tuning your own personal frequency to that specific reality. The legendary speaker Earl Nightingale spent his entire life studying success, and he managed to boil down everything he learned into just 6 powerful words. We become what we think about. Turns out, this one simple idea was the golden thread connecting the greatest thinkers and leaders all throughout history. And Henry Ford? He said it even more bluntly. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's that simple. Your belief system literally sets the boundaries for what's possible in your life. Your mind won't even let you see the opportunities that are right in front of you if you've already decided they're not for you. But of course, positive thinking alone isn't going to get you there. You can't just sit on the couch and wish for $1 million, right? Your belief has to be backed up by some serious commitment, and this is where action forges reality. Okay, so check out this incredible story about Jeff Keller's friend. He wanted a license to sell Walt Disney art. For years, he was rejected, over and over and over again. I mean, most people would have just given up, but his commitment was just on another level. Finally, just to get him to stop calling them, the executives offered him a license for some tiny, unpopular location. So what did he do? He was on a plane the very next day, buying a shop in that exact spot. His absolute, insane commitment just blew them away, and they ended up giving him the full license. He acted as if his success was completely inevitable. And speaking of Disney, here's a fantastic little piece of irony for you. Walt Disney himself was fired from an early job at a newspaper because his editor told him he had a lack of imagination and creativity. Can you believe that? But instead of letting that rejection define him, he saw that problem as an opportunity, and he went on to build one of the most imaginative companies on the entire planet. Okay, so we've seen how our brains can keep us totally anchored to the past, but also how our dominant thoughts can shape our future. This is where everything really comes together. Dr. Dispenza gives us that internal blueprint for changing our state of being, and Jeff Keller shows us how that new state turns us into a human magnet for the reality we want. So let's put it all together and figure out how we can actively start creating our future right now.
This, right here, is Dr. Dispenza's ultimate principle. See, most people try to predict their future based on their past. But if you want a new future, you can't create it from what you already know. The absolute best way to predict your future is to create it. And you have to create it from the realm of pure possibility, from the unknown.
So, how do you actually do that? Well, first, you have to get crystal clear on your intention. What is it you really want? Second, and this is the absolute key, you have to combine that thought with an elevated emotion, like gratitude or empowerment or joy. Don't wait for your success to feel empowered. You have to feel empowered now. You literally have to teach your body what that future feels like before it even happens. This is how you stop living in the past and start living from your future. So, to wrap it all up, here are the 4 pillars of an unstoppable attitude, straight from Jeff Keller's work. First, remember, you are a human magnet, constantly attracting what you think about. Second, when you truly make a commitment and back it with action, you can move mountains. Third, every single problem is just an opportunity in disguise. And finally, your words have incredible power. They blaze the trail for your life, so you have to think and speak with intention.
And all of that leaves us with one final, really powerful question. You can create your future from the familiar comfort of what you already know, which, let's face it, will probably just give you more of the same. Or you can choose to step into the unknown, armed with a clear vision and that elevated emotion, and create something entirely new. The choice, every single day, is yours.